Hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here, and welcome to another episode of Episode Rundown, where I, Shady Doorags, run down the episodes of Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug, and Cat Noir. And today we're looking at Season 3, Episode 2, Animaestro. And I gotta say, right off the bat, this episode feels pretty weird because there's a lot of things in it I kind of want to complain about, but at the same time, it just did so much right for me personally that it's definitely way up there on the like meter. So the episode starts with Marinette watching a trailer for the Ladybug and Cat Noir movie, which is in an anime form. And I've seen this trailer before. I've seen it in other places. And I thought it was a fan-made thing. I've only seen stills of it. I thought it was fan-made drawings. I didn't know it was an actual thing in the cartoon. But she's watching the trailer for it. And on the thing it says, "Oh, Ladybug and Cat Noir were invited, but Ladybug was invited, but Ladybug decided not to show up." And Marinette is like, "Yeah, superheroes don't have. I'm a superhero. I shouldn't be going around watching movies and stuff." Now, I agree that Marinette shouldn't have stayed for the whole 2-hour movie, but she's done other events, and it is actually good for a superhero to do events for the public. It keeps the morale up. So I think they were just trying to give Marinette a kind of humble moment, and they were also trying to do a comedic moment because she sees that Adrian's going to be there and immediately changes her mind and wishes she had said yes. But that response was just iffy with me. But yeah, she finds out Adrian's going and she wants to go too. Adrian voiced Cat Noir. Insert usual complaint there. Anyway, Marinette finds out that her parents, the bakers, are going to be baking for the event, and she asks if she could join them. And they kind of hesitate because Marinette is clumsy. Marinette gives this sad daughter look, and the dad, being the dad, says, "Of course you can come, Marinette." And, I understand. I'm not going to say it's outside of the dad's character to do that. He definitely would do that. And I would probably do that too if it was my daughter, but I don't think it's a good thing to do. I believe in that quote from that one show. I can never remember the show, but the actor of J. Jonah Jameson, when he says, two of the most harmful words, I'm butchering the quote, but two of the most harmful words you can give a person are "good job." You want people to improve, and in order to do that, they first need to know that they need to improve. But anyway, Marinette's I don't really, she does, hold on, get your thoughts together, Shady. There's a lot going on with this episode, and I'm trying to remember all of it. I actually did a quick run through before starting this video, just so I could remember the important bits. Marinette tells her parents that she's not going because of Adrian. Just bold-faced lie. And again, I've said, just stop saying that Marinette doesn't like liars. It's like the Applejack thing in My Little Pony. Applejack never lies. She's lied. She's lied. Marinette hates liars. No. Marinette has lied. She lies for her own stuff. Marinette goes, and they put Marinette in this maid outfit, and she looks adorable. Marinette looks adorable in this outfit. And she's serving these awesome looking macaroons. They're black and red, because it's a Ladybug movie. Now, does the black symbolize the spots, or does it symbolize Cat Noir? So anyway, she goes and she has a special macaroon that she's made for Adrian. And it's his favorite flavor. It's different than all the other macaroons, which apparently she makes every single day, just in case she runs into Adrian. Some people in the comments have said that Marinette's personality is creepy. It's extremely creepy. I gotta say, it is stalker-ish behavior. That if it happened in real life to somebody, I would probably be like, "Oh, geez, But I know we as a society, when we tend to have a double standard on this notion. When a guy does it, it's seen as very, very creepy. When a girl does it, it's not. You think back to cartoons like Phineas and Ferb. Isabella and Candace were both boy-obsessed characters, and nobody batted an eye. People still love those characters, and they would claim that their boy obsession is part of their characters. Me, I share the same biases. I think it's just adorable when I see a cartoon girl doing it. I admit to that. But I do understand what people are saying when they say Marinette's behavior is kind of creepy. It's very stalkerish. She bakes a macaroon for him every day just in case. So they go to the event. Marinette is helping serve the macaroons, and there's some baffling logic here where the parents are like, we'll just make twice as many macaroons. Yeah, because that's profitable. Just make twice as many macaroons so Marinette can feel confident about herself. Marinette goes, and she is a bit more clumsier than usual. Like, Marinette is known for being clumsy, but she's tripping over everything. Like, goodness gracious. A lot of past side characters are there. You know, Jagged Stone, that girl who only talks in rhyme, blah, blah, blah. And while Marinette is doing Marinette stuff, there's this director running around, and nobody knows who he is. And this is where I started to, like, my sense of disbelief started to kind of drag through, because I understand that, like, the kids wouldn't know who he is, like, who the director is. I understand that people might not recognize the name. But if the director of the movie says, I'm the director of the movie, especially to, like, the doorman, like, they should know. Anybody who's going to see a movie would know the director of the movie is part of it. I don't know, it kind of feels like the makers of Miraculous kind of had an axe to grind here. But, yeah, that's going on in the background, and it's going to come into play later. Marinette, that's her name. Marinette sees, what's that girl's name? Kagame. There you go. Marinette sees Kagame walk in with Adrian. Kagame's mom is there, who is apparently blind. It looked like she was blind. Gabriel was there, but not in person. Natalie was holding the TV screen of him. And, oh my goodness. Okay, so she sees Kagame, and Chloe is also there. Chloe sees Kagame as well, and Marinette's like, you know her? And Chloe says, I hate her. And they flash back to an event where these two meet. And remember what I said about Chloe and freaking Lila? And how she would not let somebody even get close to Adrian? Yeah, that happened. That happened with Kagame. But Kagame is so strong-willed, she didn't take jack from Chloe. Oh my goodness, I had this big smile on my face. Chloe looks at Kagame in the flashback. She's like, excuse me, you're in my seat. Move. And Kagame looks at her and says, never speak to me again. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be hard to top Chloe as my favorite. But Kagame is up there. She instantly made second favorite with that. This is a very awesome, strong-willed character. I love Kagame so much. So she walks in with Adrian, and this was the best part of the episode to me. She looks past Adrian, who's talking to her. Chloe and Marinette, two girls who have crushes on Adrian, and Kagame knows. Well, Kagame knows Marinette does. She's probably figured out that Chloe does. They both do, like, the girl scowl arms cross. Like, it was so stereotypically perfect. I had the biggest smile. It's like a cliche done perfectly, executed perfectly. I had the biggest smile on me when I saw them do that. Just like oh my goodness, can you believe this girl? Like, and Kagame just owns it. She owns it. I am here with Adrian. You are not. Oh man, this girl. So Chloe decides to call a truce with Marinette. They need to sabotage Kagame and get her out of there. And Chloe comes up with a plan, and it's actually a pretty good plan. And Marinette goes with it. I say that because most of Chloe's plans, like, they usually have an obvious flaw. The only flaw in this one was luck. Like, this plan actually worked really well. But Marinette is kind of hesitant because, you know, Marinette's a good person. She has her faults. She's not as good as Adrian, but she's still a good person. But her weakness is being played against. Now, I was getting a little annoyed because Marinette promised her parents that she would help them out, and she's kind of sabotaging their job just to get a boy to notice her. That annoyed me. But I let it slide because of what the show is. And I've said all the time, the show is primarily a teen rom-com. That's what it is primarily. So she's gonna get into shenanigans, and it's gonna center around Adrian. I let it slide. I let it slide. So she goes and executes this plan with Chloe, and Tiki's like, "You're teaming up with Chloe," which I think was a very bad translation there, guys, because she's teamed up with Chloe before. She has teamed up with Chloe before, and Marinette says, "I don't have a choice. Adrian is too nice of a guy to see what Kagame's up to." That is true, Marinette. But you are being a serious pot right now. I mean, Kagame over there, being the kettle, is not as black as you are right now. Too nice to see what you're up to. Also, Chloe brings back that line from season 1 where it says, the only way evil triumphs is that good people do nothing. Even though Alia said it to Marinette. I don't remember Marinette saying it to Chloe, but maybe I'm just misremembering that. Anyway, they execute the plan, but in the middle of the plan, Marinette gives Adrian her special macaroon. And Chloe was like, "What was that? Why did you give him that macaroon?" And and the director guy accidentally eats it, and he's allergic to the flavor. And Chloe hears the flavor, and she's like, "Wait a second, that's Adrian's favorite flavor." "Oh my goodness, Marinette, you have a crush on Adrian?" And I'm like, "Chloe, did you not know that?" I thought Chloe was the first person to know that. Like, Chloe has been acting like Marinette clearly had a crush on it. Like, there's been instances like, the episode where Maylene becomes the monster. Like, Marinette tried to kiss Adrian instead of Chloe, and Chloe was like, "You just wanted to have the scene for yourself." Did she think Marinette was trying to get the starring role and not specifically trying to kiss Adrian? Like, it feels like all that has happened between them. Chloe should know that Marinette has a crush on Adrian. That was very, very weird. And Marinette, gets all shy. I thought everybody but Adrian knew. I thought Chloe was the first one to know. Marinette gets all shy about it. Chloe's about to go tell Adrian. I didn't pick this up when I first saw it, but she's about to go tell Adrian that Marinette has a crush on him. Because she's like, "Adrian doesn't even notice you. Here, I'll go prove it." Like, that's what she said. And I didn't, she gets interrupted, so I didn't catch on that she was about to go tell him. That's a mean thing to do, Chloe. But she gets interrupted because this director, he's about had enough. A bunch of stuff has been happening to him. Now, I thought, usually when the character sections are good, because the character section has been really, really just really good. I thought usually when that happens, the monster, the villain of the week section isn't usually that good. The superhero stuff usually isn't that good. So I was prepared to have a disappointing villain this episode, especially since it was a guy we didn't know and his motivations were really weird. Like I said, who doesn't recognize the word director and how important that is to a movie or a film or a cartoon or whatever. But he comes in and he can transform using his mask. He becomes Animaestro. He can transform using his mask to different cartoons, and in this show they experiment with a bunch of animation styles, and it's 2D. The first one that comes out instantly reminded me of Gumball, but it's 2D, and they go through a bunch of homages. I don't think the style itself is different. I think the animation style is still the same, but it's paying homage to different anime styles. There's one that alludes to classic Mickey Mouse. There's one that leads to Sailor Moon. There's one that leads to classic comic books. And it kind of hits me. I've known this, but I don't think I've ever taken notice of this. The people who make this show do have a passion for nerd stuff. Animation, superheroes, video games, that comes into play. And I know Gamer 2.0 is coming up. But yeah, they really do have a passion. Now, like I said, I don't think they fully grasp everything, especially with the superhero stuff. But even with the superhero stuff, there's so many homages to classic superhero stuff, particularly Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure Ladybug, the whole concept is based off of Spider-Man. But I do want to acknowledge that, and I appreciate that. When that nerd stuff is just thrown at me, like all this animation stuff and whatnot, I do appreciate that, me being a nerd myself. So even though, you'll get details wrong sometimes, I enjoy this passion. The passion is reaching me. So they're fighting this guy, and he's turning into different cartoons, and it's pretty interesting just to see the stuff he turns into. And Marinette does her, Ladybug does her lucky charm, and it's a camera. She, for some reason, puts it on her head. Who knows why? And during the fight, they get blinded, and the camera records what happens, and it turns out Animaestro can't move if nobody is watching him, because if nobody sees a movie, then it essentially never happened. I mean, that's weird, but fine. I let it slide. I don't really care that much. So they like, okay, we got to make sure nobody can watch this guy. They tell everybody at home to stop watching him, and I just burst out laughing because the guy says, there will always be at least one person watching me. And I thought he was just stating a fact, like, people are interested when stuff happens and they look at it. That's what I thought he was saying. They immediately cut to Hawkmoth, who's like, yes, Animaestro, on his freaking tablet. I just burst out laughing like... I like, in hindsight, it's not that funny, but just seeing him on a tablet, like, yes, it reminds me of Frieza from Team 4-Star, just like, oh, I love this show. That's what it felt like. Where did he get a tablet from? Like, he doesn't keep a tablet. Did he go downstairs, grab a tablet, come back up to his evil lair, and be like, okay, now I can watch the action happen in full. Like, apparently Hawkmoth's, vague spying on people powers don't count as watching them. So Marinette tells everybody to stop watching. This reminds me of an episode from Teen Titans when they had to fight Control Freak. I'm going to say this right quick. Teen Titans did it better because the whole thing with Teen Titans was that people couldn't stop watching. It was too entertaining. It took me out of believability a bit that everyone would listen to Ladybug and stop watching. Like, even though they respect Ladybug, like, especially kids. Kids would be so curious to see what was going on. With this cartoon thing, running around, zapping stuff. Like, who's not going to watch that? But yeah, they get everyone to stop. They stop. There's this weird thing where Hawkmoth runs out of his house, but it doesn't really accomplish anything. And Cat Noir destroys the akumatized mask with his cataclysm. Goes back to the people. Chloe decides not to tell Adrian that Marinette has a crush on him, kind of showing a bit more good in Chloe. Again, they're trying to dial her back from being the mean girl, but they don't want... I enjoy the pace that they're doing it. It really should not be like she's suddenly this good person. She still should be the mean, nasty Chloe, but baby steps, not doing the worst she could to Marinette, especially since Lila exists now, and they're clearly going like the pure evil route with Lila. And I think that's why they brought it out officially that Chloe knows that Marinette has a crush on Adrian, because they want to use that later as well as in this episode. So Marinette sees the director and she's like, oh, hey, you're the director. I recognize you. Here's some recognition. Don't you like this recognition? She actually does recognize the director. And he's just happy to be recognized. He gives her his ticket so she can go in and sit next to... His seat happens to be next to Adrian. So she can go in and watch the movie. We don't get to see the movie, which is a crying shame. But, we weren't ever going to get to see the movie. Watch it be out there somewhere, and I'm just putting my foot in my mouth. And that's the episode. And I really enjoyed it. There were parts that make me cringe because I've seen it happen so many times in other kids shows. And this is the teen rom-com stuff. I do have to remind myself is not for me. Like the superhero stuff, that's for me. I'm a superhero guy. I'm the kind of guy that appeals to. The rom-com stuff, even though I can appreciate it, is not for me. And that's sometimes where I have to be like, it's weird. So this I was highly enjoying, even though some of it was making me cringe. I like seeing Marinette and Chloe work together. That's the arc the bully is supposed to go through if you're going to take them down the redemption arc. If you want to make them further down the evil, nasty Draco Malfoy route, don't do what Harry Potter did because they did it wrong. But this is what's supposed to happen. They found a common enemy, which I thought was going to be Lila, but it turned out to be Kagame, who is a worthy foe. Kagame is I really want to acknowledge how much I love Kagame's character. Like, again, she's not going to top Chloe, because with Chloe, they just threw in a bunch of stuff I like, but mad respect for Kagame. They found a common ally, a common enemy, which forced them to team up, and they're working together. They're seeing strengths in each other. And I thought it was just interesting. It played on Marinette's weakness for Adrian, so it wasn't completely unbelievable. Again, I found it a little weird that she would go against her parents after she promised them she would help them, and then she just goes out of her way to sabotage. It took me out a little bit, because I do see Marinette as this good character, as this person who would do good things rather than bad things. But they at least played on her weakness for Adrian to make it seem more believable. So, all in all, I think this is just a really fun episode. Like, I would like a lot more episodes to just be this fun. I think what really gets me is they were focusing on the arc that these four major characters were going through. I mean, Adrian didn't really go through an arc, but Kagame, Marinette, and Chloe are all involved in this very important arc of Chloe, who's becoming more connected to Marinette. And it's typical teenage stuff, but to me, it was just fun. And while the superhero stuff is there, because they're not focusing on the plot stuff of the superhero or completely emphasizing the superhero stuff, it just appears more fun. I want more superhero stuff, but I'm not going to knock the character stuff, especially when they do it really well. And especially when you've got Kagame and Chloe in the same thing. Like, throw Lila in there, and what is going to happen? Geez Louise, Lila is going to explode when she comes across Kagame. Because Kagame is not weak-willed, like, or she's not, I don't want to say weak-willed, but she's not timid like Marinette can come across as. Kagame, if she sees you in front, she's gonna deal with you. But anyway, let's stop fanboy over Kagame. This was a really good episode. I really liked it. It's making me look forward to the next one. And it completely washed the bad taste that last episode got out, because that last episode was supposed to be a season premiere, and I was like, is this a flash of things to come? Because if the season premiere was like what I was to be expecting, then man, I just have to shake my head. But with this, I can really look forward to what's coming next. So anyway, enough babbling from me. I will see you guys in the next video. This has been Shady Doorags. So long. Farewell. That Wiedersehen. Goodbye.